You have something I want.
Giancarlo Esposito, the legendary actor behind Moff Gideon, just teased a new vision coming for the future of Star Wars content and an Avengers Endgame level crossover event with the characters from the Mandoverse in a new Star Wars trilogy.
Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
And not only that, this interview has also reignited fan speculation that Moff Gideon is still alive.
No. It's not true. That's impossible!
So let's start with what Giancarlo actually said. In this interview with Culture Slate, the actor was asked about the future of Star Wars. And this is what he said. As in the MCU, Disney will figure out how to join all these characters into one great movie or TV show. That's my sense of where it will go. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have a new vision. Continuing on with the Mandalorian movie, my sense is that it's all going to converge at one point or another, and we are going to have another set of a trilogy or more of films. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. We've been speculating about this Mando trilogy for over a year now since Dave Filoni got his Mando movie announced at Star Wars Celebration in 2023. But since that announcement, everything has been speculation. Until now. Giancarlo Esposito is our inside man. He was on the set of The Mandalorian Season 1, 2, and 3, not only playing the character of Moff Gideon, but being behind the scenes with Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, the two masterminds behind this Mandoverse era in the Star Wars timeline, also known as the New Republic era. Now, I'm sure most of you know by now that Dave Filoni is the apprentice to George Lucas, working alongside of the creator of Star Wars for 6 seasons of the Clone Wars. More recently, he has done 4 seasons of Star Wars Rebels, 3 seasons of The Bad Batch, and he's come over to live action, helping pave the way with The Mandalorian Season 1, 2, and 3, but getting his own season of television, writing and directing the Ahsoka series. But when it comes to Jon Favreau coming over to Star Wars with The Mandalorian, he has the experience from the MCU, or the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not only did he direct and play a role in Iron Man 1, which is the MCU's first film, he's played a part in the continuation of the Infinity Saga and has seen firsthand what it's like to create this world that is so interconnected. So when he came over to Star Wars with The Mandalorian in 2019, he began to create this interconnected world in the Mandoverse. From The Mandalorian to the Book of Boba Fett to Ahsoka to now releasing in just 2 months on December 3rd, Skeleton Crew. So with these two genius minds behind the scenes interconnecting everything and bringing these fan-favorite characters of Din Djarin and Grogu to the big screen, as the next Star Wars movie set to release on May 22nd of 2026 is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, it sounds like all our speculation for the last year and a half is coming true, and Giancarlo Esposito might just be confirming what we already thought. A new trilogy in Star Wars is on its way. And it's not a prequel, it's not a sequel, it's a pre-sequel, post-original trilogy, taking place in between the events of Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. This will likely be a canon adaptation of the Legends trilogy, Heir to the Empire, that sees Grand Admiral Thrawn take over the Empire as the Heir to the Empire. And we just got introduced to that big blue meanie in live action in Ahsoka last year. So it seems like all lines are pointing to a Mando trilogy, with The Mandalorian and Grogu being the first of 3 movies, setting up Grand Admiral Thrawn as the big villain like Thanos in the Infinity Saga, and having all your favorite characters from Din, Grogu, Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, Bo-Katan, Luke Skywalker, Leia Organa, Han Solo, and more fighting against the Heir to the Empire. Now, with that being said, the Rey movie and the Dawn of the Jedi movie, which are both not connected to the Mandoverse at all, they don't take place in this New Republic era, those movies will still happen, they just won't be a part of this story. The same way that when the sequel trilogy was being released, they also released movies like Rogue One and Solo, 2 movies that didn't take place anywhere near the sequel trilogy events. And if they're going to go down the same scheduling route as the sequel trilogy, then it will be 1 year in between movies. So the Mandalorian trilogy will go from 2026 to 2030, with a movie coming out every other year. And I'm sure you're already saying,
Mike, 2030 sounds so far away.
but it's not. 2024 is almost already over, meaning we're only about 5 years away from 2030, which really is not that far. So you already got to start looking to the future after this Mandoverse trilogy. And what comes next might be something that fans are really looking forward to, as it could be an Old Republic saga after this Skywalker saga has finally been rounded out. With all the gaps in between trilogies being filled out, Star Wars fans who have been begging and pleading for years for an Old Republic saga could be getting those wishes answered, but that's a little bit further away. But Giancarlo Esposito doesn't just mention a trilogy here, he also mentions a trilogy or more films. There is another option here.
There is another.
A way crazier option that would take about a decade to play out. And it would really be taking the format of the MCU, with the Mandalorian and Grogu movie not being the beginning of a trilogy, but a one-off movie. Just like the MCU having one-off movies of Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and then all those characters coming together for an Avengers-level movie, is it possible that we could be seeing a Star Wars version of that? With a Mandalorian and Grogu movie, maybe a Boba Fett movie, maybe an Ahsoka movie, and then seeing all those characters come together in an Heir to the Empire climactic Avengers-level event? Like I said, that option is a lot more crazy and would take a lot longer to execute, but it definitely cannot be left out of the realm of possibility. Something crazy is being brewed behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm, and hopefully a big announcement will happen very soon for us fans to figure out what that truly is. And that announcement will most likely happen at Star Wars Celebration in 2025. Now let's talk about Moff Gideon coming back. In The Mandalorian Season 3, we see Moff Gideon in an all Beskar armor, that is very important, get blown to smithereens. This was the third season of Moff Gideon being the main villain for Din Djarin, and it seemed like a good end for the character. He dies in a fiery explosion. But no, that's not enough for Star Wars fans, as speculation ran wild right after The Mandalorian Season 3 ended that wasn't the true Moff Gideon. That was a clone of Moff Gideon. And I mean, it's not that crazy. There was a whole room full of Moff Gideon clones. And Moff Gideon in Season 3 didn't have a mustache when Moff Gideon in Season 1 and 2 did have a mustache. And now you have Giancarlo Esposito talking about the future of Star Wars in this new vision and possible trilogy taking place in the same time frame where his character once existed, and he was in a full Beskar suit, and Beskar can stop a lightsaber, so why can't it save him from this fiery explosion? But even with that being said, I still don't think Moff Gideon is returning. I think the character served its purpose. He was a good bad guy for Din Djarin and Grogu, but it's time to move on to something bigger and better and bluer, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Because although I love Giancarlo Esposito and I loved Moff Gideon, Thrawn is so much better. But hey, if we get a scene of Moff Gideon climbing his way out of this trench on Mandalore because the Beskar armor saved him, I won't be that upset. But tell me in the comment section below, do you think Moff Gideon is still alive? And do you think Giancarlo Esposito has the inside scoop that there could be a possible new Star Wars trilogy or even a new Star Wars saga in this New Republic era? Tell me what you think in the comment section below. And we started a new series on this channel of what ifs. And this story of what if Darth Maul killed Palpatine on Mandalore is a crazy one. So go check it out right here.